Hello to all the Amiga fans out there. This is Jack coming from Austin, Texas with another WinUAE 4.0.1 Amiga OS 3.9 tutorial. This is part 3. We're going to be doing WHD load. For anybody that's had any problems with getting WHD load to run, I am going to walk you through the steps, everything that is required, easy peasy. Just simple, straightforward instructions. So if you've been following any of my other tutorials, I will be going off the basis of what we've done in part 1 and part 2 as far as creating a emulation environment, OS 3.9 with Boing Bags 1 and 2, and then some added little extra goodies like MUI and magic menus and changing up our desktop a little bit. And we're going to do a tutorial on that. Also, I'd like to let you know, for anybody that is subscribing, please continue to subscribe. I have launched another channel called Pints and Amiga Game Night. If you have not checked that out, by all means, please do like and subscribe. It's me and my son. We are playing games and having some pints. Texas style, playing on original Amiga hardware. So without further ado, we're going to jump right in, and we are going to launch our WinUAE. If you've gone off of the first and second part, you'll remember that we created a WinUAE environment of an A4000-040. If you still have that, or if you've named it something different, please highlight that and load that. As I've told you before, make sure up in the upper left hand corner that that particular machine is loaded and it's all there, and I want you to hit start. Now my screen flips a little bit. If you like yours in Windows mode running alongside of your Windows 10, that's perfectly fine. I like the full screen, full effect. So my KVM switch and my recording software kind of flickers just a little bit. So I apologize for that. So here we go. We've got our A4000-040 on the desktop, right where we left off from the last time that I did an instructional video. So if you've customized yours and you've made yours all fancy and everything, I left mine kind of plain Jane with going off of the first and second part. This is part 3, and we're going to concentrate on setting up a WHD load under a 3.9 environment. So here we go. Now, I have, like in past videos, I have a hard drive that I call Banana Man. He's my 4 terabyte hard drive. And inside of there, I create a directory called Amiga Downloads. And on the PC side, I download all of my Amiga files to it to test and load. Please excuse me, got a little frog in my throat. And I've created a directory called New WHD Load Stuff. You can create it whatever you want. And this is where I put all of my WHD Load downloads that I need. All of the links for everything that you need I will put in the descriptions, and I'll put links in the description, and most of it you will find on AmiNet. WHD Load has a site all of their own, and other than that, most of it you can find. iGames has a link of their own that you can download the latest iGames. But all of the links will be in the description for you to go and get everything you need. So once you get everything you need, you can come back and watch this video again. So we're going to start off by installing WHD Load. Now, I like to take my archives and move it over to my RAM directory and do all of my extraction in RAM. Why not? We have plenty. So there's my WHD load. And being 3.9, we can double click on icons and use the unarc tool and we're going to destination, put that into RAM. Okay, and we're going to update this drawer. Now, for the ones of you that are new to WHD Load and have not heard of this tool is completely awesome. I don't know if you've been an Amiga user as long as I have, over 25 years. Back in the day, I used to have thousands and thousands of floppies. And when you go to try and load and play a game, and you've got 3 external floppy drives on your classic Amiga hardware, and you're loading up the 12 disc of Willy Beamish, you know, the game Willy Beamish, and you know, you got 3 drives there, and it sounds like the discs are playing music. You know, they're clicking and grinding and everything else, and you're constantly swapping disc in and out. It's rather painful, and then when you get down to it, you find out that disc 11 has got a bad sector on it, and you never can complete the game because you got a bad floppy. Well, along come WHD Load, and WHD Load allows you to load, I guess you could say, rips or images of a floppy, not an ADF file. Actual, they take the inside of the floppy, the software, and they make it to where WHD Load can execute it. I don't know the magic that goes on there. I just know it works, and I wished it was around a long, long time ago. WHD Load is a godsend for an old school gamer such as myself that love to play Amiga games that I never had or never could play or didn't have the machine to play. And under the WinUAE environment, it's a whole new experience to me to experience those games. So let's move on. Let me keep this short as possible so you can get to playing with your WHD Load games. Now, I'm not going to tell you where to find WHD Load games at, but they're all over the internet. Google's your friend. So you just search for WHD Load games, and that's about as far as I'm going to tell you on that. So let's install WHD Load. It's pretty simple. It's a couple of C commands and a couple of scripts. It installs fairly quick and easy. Install for real, yes. In the C directory, yes. Asked you where you want to do the documentation. I do recommend reading the documentation. Like most Amiga users, we jump right into software, forget the instructions, we kind of learn it as we go. But I have learned with WHD Load, when you run into problems and you can't get things to load or act right, I wind up going and reading up on it a lot, and I learned a lot about the actual program itself. So please read those. We're going to extract those, so we're all done there. Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to install the Gui Graphics in the render library. In the program, iGames requires the render library in the Gui Graphics Library. Now, let's go ahead and, since I've got the RAM open, let's go ahead and slide the render library over there. We'll double click on it. In volumes, and we're going to extract it to RAM. And we're going to start. And then we're just going to hit a little bit of an update here. And we have render library folder. So open that up. The only thing we need is library. Now, you're going to have several of them in here. Render library 020. If you got an 020 set up, use that one. Or the 040, which we're going to be using the 040. Or if you've got an 060 emulation going on. So bring up your WB. Bring up your workbench. That's what I call mine, is WB. And let's do a show all. And I want you to open up that libraries directory. And I want you to drag the 040, 68040, into the libs. Now I need you to go and find it, where it dropped it in at. And I need you to right click and rename that. Let's rename that. Let's get rid of the whole 040 thing. Now, that library is compiled for 040. The 060 is compiled for 060 to take benefits for that, optimize for that processor, so on and so on. Now, we've got that. Close some of these windows, maybe move them out of the way just a little bit. We don't need that window open no more. Now, we need the Gui Graphics Library, so drag that over to RAM. Let's open that up. Destination, RAM. If you have other ways of extracting files, your own little method, by all means, go ahead. This is mine. And that's done. Let's update this. Now, the GUI graphics kind of splatters itself around a little bit in your RAM, so there is no actual main directory. So the folder we're going to be looking for, or the file cabinet we're going to be looking for, drawer, is libs. So look at that one and drag that over to the libs directory. Now, that was the one with FPU support. Also on AmyNet, I'm going to put the link in the descriptions, GUI Graphics Libs No FPU. If you're doing an 020 setup, WinUAE setup, use the No FPU, help out a lot. If you have problems, I've had problems with GUI Graphics and games and WHD Load not running right on real hardware and had to use the GUI with no FPU, and then on other machines I've used just the regular GUI FX lib with FPU support off in it. Entirely up to you. On emulation I've never had a problem with that, so up to you on which one you want to use. If you run into any problems with WHD Load and the iGames program, try the GUI FX lib no FPU. You will have to rename the GUI FX lib no FPU to GUI Graphics .library and basically make a copy of this one, or however you want to do it, do a backup, or rename this one original, or however you want to do it, old. But yeah, I'll leave that up to you. If you have any problems, use this one right there. Okay? Now, we need to install iGames. So let's move that to RAM. Destination will be RAM. It goes that quick. And let's do a update on this. And there's iGame right there. Now what I want you to do is I want you to go to your workbench and drag it wherever you like it. If you want to create a folder called Games, that's entirely up to you. Me, I just roll mine right into the root. Okay? And double click on iGames and go to the iGame guide. And look at the requirements. See the requirements? GUI Graphics, we just installed that. Render Library, we just installed that. We have these two more that we have to install. So we're going to go ahead and close that out. And we need to go to back to where we downloaded our WHD stuff. Alright. Now we're going to install MCC Text Editor 68K version. This is 15.28. GUI Graphics Library should be at least 17.1, and Render Library should be at least 30 or 31. You can find all of that on AmyNet, and I'm going to put all of the links in the description. So we need to extract that to RAM. And double click on that. We'll Put that in RAM and hit start. And it says it's already in there, but we're going to override it. Okay, now we are going to go to the, where did it put it? Let's clean this up. Let's update this. Ah, there's one right there, and there's the other one right there. The main one we need is the text editor MCC, but I like to also, because there's going to be programs later on that are going to use this MCP one too, so you'll want to put that in there too. So I want you to go over to your WB, go to your MUI folder, and I want you to go to your libs folder. Now you're not going to see it, so you're going to have to go up to the top, and I want you to go to the MUI, and I want you to grab this one, drop it in there, and I want you to grab this one and drop it in there. If you're unsure, you can scroll down to the T's and see that they're right there. Okay, go ahead and close all of this out. Now we've got one last thing we need to do. WHD Load requires kickstarts. You cannot launch WHD Load games without kickstarts. Now, these are specially named kickstarts from your original kickstarts. If you have original kickstarts, you can use a tool on AmyNet that you can read about in WHD Load that will create these soft file kickstarts that WHD Load calls to. So for every system you load, let's just say you load a game that is meant for an A500, okay? That game might have embedded in it to look for a specific kickstart. Like this particular kickstart right here is labeled, is version kick 3.4.0.0.5 for an A500. If that game has encoded in it and programmed into it to look for a certain kickstart, like a 1.3 kickstart or a 2.0 kickstart, WHD Load has to call to a kickstart for it. Now, if you have an Amiga Forever CD, all of these kickstarts are on your Amiga Forever CD, and you can get them off of that, and you can dig around inside of that CD and move all of those kickstarts and create a directory called kickstarts on your Amiga emulation. Make sure that ROM key is in there. Also, when you're creating kickstarts, if you create your own, or if you go find them on the internet, Google is your friend, these kickstarts have to be named just right. The ones on the Amiga Forever CD are not named right. All you have to do is rename them with the instructions from the WHD Load help files and the online tutorials, and you have to make sure they're named right, because if WHD Load, when you launch it, and it'll come up and say kick 4.0.0.63.A600 not found. You're going to have that kickstart. And also you have to watch it because of capitalization and the way you name it. Because WHD Load will come back and say kick 4.0.0.63.A600 not found, and the A might be lowercase. So yes, it gets a little tricky like that. It's all a naming thing. Okay. Once you've created a directory of kickstarts, go back into your workbench and go to your devs directory. Open up that devs directory, and I want you to place now kickstarts, not kickstart, kickstarts. Make sure that naming is right, because WHD Load looks for kickstarts in the devs directory. You can't put them anyplace else. So you can drag and drop them and just move them right on over. We can do a show all. We can scroll down, and there it is. Do a little check. Make sure they look like they're all there. They're all good to go. Make sure that if you're using Amiga Forever Kickstarts, that ROM key is in there. And we're good to go. Now, just for giggles, I want you to do good old reboot. Now, we're almost done. Let this reboot come back, and we will be looking into launching some games. So here we are, back at the desktop. Now, go to your workbench and to wherever you have the iGame program, and I want you to double click on the icon. Can't create app. Make sure all the required MCCs are present. Please check the included guide. Well, I know I got the right ones. Oh, I forgot one, the Gui Graphics MCC. My fault, I jumped a step. So let's go back to our downloads. And let me go to my new WHD load stuff. And looks like I did not put it in that folder. I know I have it. Now, I did not do the download for it, but I will put it in the description and where to download that. I apologize for that. I have mine right there. Once you extract the directory, you'll see the WinUAE Gui Graphics. Obviously, before doing this video, I forgot to put it in my new WHD Load stuff folder, and sorry, apologize for that. So let's go ahead and go back to our MUI. What's saying that you've went to AmiNet and you've gotten this Gui Graphics MCC. Let's drop this inside the GUI libs, the MUI libs, and we'll drop that off right in there. Now, I should not have a problem. Okay, I want you to go to your workbench, open up your workbench, find your iGame folder, double click on the iGame icon, and we need to add games to the list panel right here. Now, iGames is a WHD Load game launcher. It creates a list of all your games in there, and when you're ready to play a game, you just click on the one that you want. iGame calls to WHD Load, and WHD Load calls to the kickstarts that we moved into the devs directory, launches the game accordingly, so you can play it without no hard drive installs and no ADF files and no floppies. So we're going to scan a repository. Now you have to go up to the menu and hit on the game repository. Click on the little folder right here. Go to parent. Click parent again until we find your hard drive that you keep all your WHD Load in the directory. Point it towards the directory of all your WHD Load games. I created a simple little directory, WHD games. If I did the WHD Load games, the big directory, it has over 3,000 games in it. So we would sit here for a while, and I'd have to edit some video for time lapse to load that, because it'd take about 10-15 minutes for that to load. So I just created a directory with a few games in it. How many ever games you have in yours, that's entirely up to you. So once we click on that, we're going to hit OK. We're going to add, and then we're going to close this out. Then we're going to tell it to scan the repository. Bam! Total of 5 games off in there. Now we have ViroCop, we have 2 meg ViroCop, we have ViroCop AGA, Aladdin, and Gods. Okay, now once your list pops up, we are ready to play some WHD Load games. So, if you have a controller plugged up to your PC and set up in WinUAE, most Windows controllers automatically configure in WinUAE. I use a standard Xbox 360 controller for mine. All the buttons are there. I can assign buttons to do CD32 stuff. That's something for maybe another video. But by all means, plug in your favorite USB controller and let's play a game. So good, let's go with something simple like Gods. You'll have this little front end that pops up here. And F10 to quit. And give it a few minutes and your game will start. Now, if anybody's played Gods, everybody knows Gods. It's one of my favorite games. And loading the game. Begin a quest. Ooh, already. Plays smooth, doesn't it? Ooh. Now, to get out of the game, that particular game asks for F10 to quit. So we're going to quit out now. And we're right back to our Amiga desktop. We want to load another one. Let's do Aladdin. Good old Aladdin. That's an AGA game. The Gods was an ECS OCS game. And then ViroCop is a AGA game. So we double click on it. And Ultimate Lives. However, some of them have cheats that you can click. This one is press print screen to quit. PC keyboards do not have a print screen, which it's the star on your number pad. So if you have a numerical number pad on your PC keyboard, it's the third one on the top row. So it's the little star one. Or the times, when you're using a numeric calculator, it's the times button. So key. So it's right there between the / and the minus, above the 9. So we can start this. And look at there. Nice AGA Aladdin. We're going to skip past all of them. Now, I'm going to show you how to do a little trick. I want you to press F12. Press F12 and you will come to your UAE properties menu. I want you to go down to filters. Okay? Go over to these filters. Go to the default. You can do automatic scaling if you want to. You can go full screen max. Go full screen max. Hit OK. What that's going to do, and it didn't do it the way I wanted it to do it. but it's supposed to put the screen at full screen and take up your whole screen. Let me try that one more time. Let's do automatic scaling. Let's try that one. There we go. There we go. Sorry, I meant to say automatic scaling, not scale maximum. That took, and yes, it blew out the whole game to the full screen edges of your monitor. But I want you to press F12 again. And go to these filters. Now, if you've installed the extra filter packs from the WinUAE website, you'll get a lot more filter selection. By default, you'll get a couple of them right off the bat. So let's do something. Let's scale it up just a little bit, and let's make it a little more softer. And I should have it. Obviously, that filter didn't want to work. Okay, let's go to maybe one of these direct 3D filters. Let's get a, let's try this one. There we go. Softened it up a little bit. Let's see if we can make it a little more smoother. Let's do that one. That one's a good one. And it didn't like that one. Let's try another one. Filters are kind of hit and miss. You'll have to play with them and try them if you want. If you don't, you want to stay traditional gameplay, that's perfectly fine too. I enjoy that too. See? Now, yeah, yes, it looks a little blurry, but it's softer. That one was a little too soft. But makes him look a little cartoonish. But it does not affect the gameplay. It just softens things up a little bit. Ooh, Hey, that's my feet. Now, do you remember what it was to get out? Print screen. A little star on the number pad. So there we are, back at our desktop. And that is it. So thank you all for joining in. I hope it wasn't too long of a ride. So there is WHD Load. Everything, all of the links to everything will be in the description. Any questions or confusions or anything like that, please contact me. I'll be more than help you out as much as possible. Please excuse me today. I've had a little bit of a frog in my throat. And salutations. Check out the Pints and Amiga Gaming channel while we sit around and drink pints of beer and play classic Amiga gaming on classic hardware on a 65-inch big screen TV. Everything's right there on the screen for you. Nice resolution where you can see everything. So by all means, like and subscribe. See you next time.